I would walk into a room and I'd hide. I'd be the one standing in the corner and praying that no one would come speak to me. No one can build a business alone. And networking is a very important part to establishing your credibility and who you are. Women are not necessarily bad at business, but they're bad at asking for help. We continually are justifying a lower price before anyone is even coming to the conversation to negotiate with us. We are our own worst enemies.
But we are very guilty of not doing what we need to do. And part of it is just fear.
Hello, and welcome to Own the Room with Pam and Gayle. Here is where we sit down with women who lead with heart, unstoppable energy, and vision. When leadership meets opportunity, this is where we like to really dig in with women and find out what all is going on and what their journey has been about and what their story is. We love to hear the stories of the women that we talk with to find out how they got to where they are today. And so today we are meeting with Krista Beavers, who is the CEO of
Guardian.
Yep. And it used to be Green. It changed. I don't know why I went back to that. Guardian Accounting, I know very well because I am a user of Guardian Accounting. And welcome, Krista. We're
Thank
so
you
happy
both
to
for
have
having
you.
me. Thank you.
Yeah, we're very excited about having you on.
So I have a few more things to say about Krista.
Okay.
She's a CEO, as you've mentioned, but behind her financial expertise, she's a connector, a community builder. You're creating masterminds, networks, and spaces where entrepreneurs can grow together, challenge each other, and rise to their next level of leadership. And that's how I met you, was through one of the networking programs that were events that we had gone to in the past. So you are not only a friend, a great networking person, but also our own personal account.
And that's how you met Krista. And how I met Krista was through another networking group many years ago. I don't even know how long ago we actually were both in the
I think it's almost 10.
Yeah, Leads of North Fresno group, and that's where we met as well. So one of the things when we were talking about having you on as a guest that we both agreed with was we don't know anybody who's connected any better than you are or who is networks at such a high level. So I don't know, Gales, we all have questions, but I love to start there and how you have leveraged your networking. Of course, we want to hear all about Guardian Accounting, not Green, but Guardian Accounting. Well, it was Green. What was it before? Green?
Beavers Bookkeeping.
No. Before that, when I first met you, it was Green something. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So just in case I'm wrong, I'm saying it doesn't matter. But you have expanded your business unbelievably by your collaboration and networking in the community. And I have to believe that has been very intentional. So tell us about that.
You know, no one can build a business alone. And networking is a very important part to establishing your credibility and who you are. And as I mentioned earlier to you guys, I mean, when I first started my business, I would walk into a room and I'd hide. I'd be the one standing in the corner and praying that no one would come speak to me.
Yeah.
But I realized if I actually, why was it going if I wasn't going to talk to anyone?
To be able to say you went.
Yes, exactly. But if I was actually going, what was the intention behind going? And shifting the mindset to be intentional in what I'm doing when I'm networking. And, you know, Gayle, we met through Gina Estrada, and she was probably my best mentor in really understanding how to network. She was the network queen. Therefore, you really had to come in and say, I needed to meet 3 people. And each time you come, have that conversation, give that business card, and then do the follow-up. Because there's honestly no reason in meeting anyone if you're not going to have that additional conversation. And so today, really, one of the things I take a lot of pride in is being that connector. I know someone who does something. Whatever it may be, whether you need plumbing or a website or a real estate agent, I have a name for you. And that does enable you to really empower yourself to the community to be, oh, well, you've got to meet Krista Beavers. She knows everyone.
Yeah.
Do you have a trick or a hack that you can share with our audience about being shy and then having to come up to someone and say, hi, I'm Krista Beavers, or and your name is? Or tell us a little bit about some ideas how we can network better.
I would say one of the best ways to do that is to enter into a Leads Like Fresno or a B&I group where you're in front of the same people regularly. So you're learning how to do that 30-second, 1-minute pitch and have the continual conversations.
Which that group was great.
They are a really great way, particularly for new business owners, to start getting a foot under what they need to do and how they represent themselves, so they can go out into these different, whether it's a lunch and learn or a 5,000 person seminar, and actually meet people and take away possibly the next business deal.
So you started going to these networking groups, and that grew your business.
Honestly, what ends up growing my business more than anything is the client referrals from the current clients.
Okay.
So if you're meeting those expectations and delivering what you say you're going to deliver, your best referrals are going to be from your clients. And then working adjacent to that, I do accounting, so I'm working with a lot of attorneys that start up, business coaches, bankers, payroll companies that are very adjacent to what I do. And then I go in and be intentional about meeting them. And you're going to meet most of those within the different networking groups if you start with one of those. And from there, having the lunch, but having the follow-up calls. Most often, you get a business card and a name and you walk away. You're going to be forgotten. It's having that follow-up call, making the coffee, having lunch with them, getting to know them, that enables them to start remembering you when you have business. I mean, I literally got a call from a girl that we did we're in a philanthropy group together. She met someone in a airport bar and handed over my name and number because he started talking to her about needing someone with his business. It's grown. And that's where that referral came from. Wow.
And people do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Exactly.
Right? And we all now, once you know Krista, you will definitely like her, and absolutely trust her because you are so sincere about your clients' welfare.
With what I do, I mean, I know many people come in when you're on a networking group, you've got it all together. You are successful and you're profitable. And when you get an accountant, they see all the things behind the curtain, and they're walking in very naked and vulnerable. And fortunately, I've seen everybody in every situation. I've been in a lot of the situations myself as a first-time business owner. So doing what you say you're going to do, come in with heart and passion or compassion to what they're doing, because it can be scary to be that vulnerable. But once you're able to make those connections and grow so much further.
And it's embarrassing. I mean, I know for me, being an business owner, I was a realtor first. Yeah. And Pam and I partnered. And so we came from the state of play that we were realtors. And Pam had some business set up by you earlier, which was very helpful. Thank goodness you already had that set up, some structure for us. And then we continued to expand. But we are very guilty of not doing what we need to do. And part of it is just fear. Part of it is like we should be knowing this already. I should know how to read a profit and a loss statement. I should know how to read a balance statement.
You just go to the bottom line, right? Is that what you do?
Well, the bottom line matters, yeah.
I just spend money until Pam says, Gayle, I want you to hold back a little.
And I think you bring a good point into it, Gayle, is that a lot of times we're fearful of asking. But many a times I find as business owners, they're so concerned with thinking they need to do it all and be it all that they end up slowing their own progress. No one knows everything about everything. Yeah. I don't know about marketing. I hire marketing people. I'm not an attorney. I'm not reviewing contracts. You guys are not accountants. So why are you trying to do all the bookkeeping or tax preparation? So a lot of the times it's educating business owners that they do not have to know all the things about business, but they need to know who to reach out to.
Right.
Finding the who could help them versus how to do it. And many women in business, I find hold themselves back. One, because of that fear, but they feel they have to take on too much, do everything for themselves versus finding who can help them do it. So one of the things I really do try to educate people on is if that task is not generating revenue, then find out who you can outsource that task to. And sometimes money is slowing them down. And, I would say before you hire a bookkeeper, make sure you're hiring a CPA. They're going to save you more there than they're going to cost you. If you are trying to do your marketing, hire someone to at least help you do the follow-up on the emails or stuff the envelopes. I mean, find small steps as you're going along. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, your job as the CEO of your business is to outsource everything that is not generating you revenue. Because if you're not making money or teaching people on your team to make money, you've got to find another way to get that done.
Boy, that is great advice, Krista. That is really great advice.
One of the things you shared with me as we were talking about preparation of this podcast was about women undervaluing themselves.
Daily.
Share with us about that.
I think women are not necessarily bad at business, but they're bad at asking for help. Mm-hmm. We are the all-in-one, the janitor, the CEO, the marketing team, the driver, the cook, and we continually are underpricing. We're justifying a lower price before anyone is even coming to the conversation to negotiate with us. We are our own worst enemies. And they say, there's a large gap in what women make in men in the workforce, let alone in the business. And I'm going to say, yes, there is a lot of truth to that. But what I've also found is women don't come in and ask for what they want, or will they even counter to start with.
So it's self-inflicted.
Self-inflicted. And so when you do not value what you're worth, what your product or service is worth, right in, you are your first worst enemy to that. And if women can come in and realize that they don't have to work harder, they don't have to come in and discount to get the deal to start with, there is value to what they're bringing to the table, that ends up gaining confidence. And that confidence then helps you gain clarity in where you're going. So absolutely, I do find that women are their own worst enemies when it comes to starting the business to start with.
So yesterday was tax day.
Yes.
Right?
Phew.
And
it's over.
I know.
So we got past that date. So now people should have already been starting to prepare for their tax for 2027. So having a plan in place. Is there anything that right now that business owners should be doing, looking at, reviewing, to protect themselves during the year, so that way when 2027 comes along and it's April 15th, that they're not hit with such a big tax bill?
Yeah, I'd say one of the first things is, every quarter looking at reconciling or looking at your books. And that's one of those tasks that business owners, it's not generating them revenue and they forget about themselves. And I spend all January, February, and March with my new client coming in saying, I haven't done anything all year. And that's where we get them on that system. Mm-hmm. If you're not actually looking at how you performed over the last 3 months, you can't plan the next 3 months. You've got to be really clear on your financials and what you're actually generating in revenue. And a lot of times you'll find you're overspending in different areas.
Really?
Many business think,
surprise.
I know, they think they have to spend money to make money. And yes, that is true to a point, but you've got to spend it strategically.
Yeah.
Where is the best bang for your buck? There's only so much you can do in spending and advertising dollars. $5,000 may get you just as much as $50,000. Or you'd be surprised how many dues and subscriptions you subscribed, but before you know it, you're not utilizing it, and you've got 20 different apps on on your business.
The not utilizing it is a big issue. I mean, we'll see something, especially now in this AI world. That's a great place to start.
And it's actually a model. They intend on you purchasing, subscribing, and not utilizing. You pay and forget. But if you're not actually looking at those transactions and really understanding where your money is going, that's where a lot of businesses fail. They don't have that financial clarity. So ensuring that you are at least going through on a quarterly basis and then saving. I would say probably one of the biggest things within real estate is they run into the mentality of, I need to get new floors. Let me go close a deal. I need to get a new car. Let me go close a deal. And they're spending that money, but not putting aside anything for the taxes. 30% needs to go, particularly in a commission, 30%.
30%.
Put 30% right to the side. And then of the remaining 70, you keep 50 within your business and take 40 home.
Okay. Man.
Well, and the other thing, like you've been doing my books for many, many years. And honestly, the reason why I first got started with having you do my books is because I'm not a W-2 employee, and I wanted to buy stuff and nobody would sell me anything. I couldn't buy a new car. I couldn't buy a house. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that because I wasn't able to show. I needed a P&L.
Yeah.
And my gosh, once I started getting that P&L, I changed from feeling invisible to visible because now I was able to say, yeah, this is who I am. Financially, this is who I am. And I need this, give it to me because, I'm a viable entrepreneur woman. And without having that, living the way that you were talking about living, I need new floors, go do this, and not holding money back for their taxes, which I'm guilty of. But without it, instead of being afraid of doing that, I don't want to look at it. Where am I going to come up with the money to pay for it? It's so empowering to have those financials, especially in the real estate field.
Well, you said it perfectly because clarity is what gives you confidence.
Yes.
Confidence doesn't give you clarity. So determining what it is that you need to get the clarity within your business that gives you more confidence to negotiate for a better deal for yourself or go out and ask more because you know what you're worth.
Right.
And you said it clearly. You felt better. You felt more empowered when you were able to hand those financials right over and say, give me that car, baby.
Hey, I make more money than you.
Exactly.
Yeah, give me that brand new car. Yeah, I mean, and I think as women too, and the fact that we're not at where we don't get a steady paycheck and we don't have that W-2s, that we don't realize how empowering it is to get those financials done, even if you're just starting real small, and you're going to grow, but being able to have that financial confidence in knowing that I don't just have a tax return, I don't have the W-2s, but I have something, concrete that I can give to people. I know that if you're in real estate and you're just at the end of the year handing over a box of receipts and whatever W-2 got issued to you, you can't even begin to understand what value there is in that.
There's an agent on our team that has never worked before at all. She came to this country in 2017, never had a job. And so she finally became a realtor, had very successful daughters that were in Ivy League schools. And she started working as a realtor, and by her second or third year, I think third year, she was making over six figures. And she came to me and she was so proud. Her confidence levels went from, very, very low to on top of the world. And so that ability to own your own income, to have a calculated worth, being able to achieve what she's achieved in a very short time was very, very impressive.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm glad that you shared that story, because many a times I do also believe that women are just afraid to make money. They're afraid to be successful, and not so much that they may not deserve it, but they feel they're not worthy of it. And so it's difficult sometimes to express to women, like, you have the right to earn money and not be ashamed of it. And it's going into that mindset of knowing what you're worth, and the value of yourself to understand. But that financial piece of it is what gives you the clarity to get that confidence. It's a big circle that goes through it.
there's a book called The Psychology of Money. That's an
I've not read that one. That's shocking.
Excellent read. Highly recommend it. And it talks about how people or women don't feel like they're worthy. Part of that's because of the traditional role that women have been ascribed to over the years. And it hasn't been that long. Women got the right to get a credit card without their husband's signature or approval in 1978. So
Shocking sometimes when I
it
look
is
at it.
absolutely shocking. And for my daughters, they had no clue. They just thought that a woman could get a credit card no matter what, or that if they were married, they couldn't own real estate unless their husband agreed to it, allowed them to be on title. So
it's shocking to hear it. Yeah.
So we have come a long way in 40 years, but we still have a ways to go.
We do.
We still have a ways to go. Have you seen, or how have you helped women, clients, but we're talking about women here, be able to step into their power? Do you have any stories or anything to share that occur to you?
Well, I would say probably one of them is my own story to that, and how I got started. As I said earlier, I was the person that walked in the room and wasn't, hiding when I wanted to not network. But the same thing, I have my degree in accounting. I went to college. I have this degree. But when I decided I wanted to go out on my own, I wasn't confident enough to say, hey, I'm an accountant. Sorry about that. I think my phone there. I'm an accountant and I can do this. No, I went out and said, well, I'm just going to do bookkeeping.
What is the difference?
Great question. So bookkeeping is more of the transactional data entry. Entering the activity and then reconciling the counts.
Like QuickBooks.
Correct. QuickBooks helps you do the bookkeeping. And then tax CPAs do your tax preparation, so they're following the different federal and state lines. Then your accountants are in the middle. They're working to be, at least in my opinion, this is how I work, to be proactive versus reactive. Your CPA is reacting to how you did to prepare your tax return. You get an accountant or a fractional CFO, and they're strategizing with you all year long.
Okay, so we were starting to talk a little bit about that strategy, getting ready for protecting, for trying to minimize taxes so we can hang on to as much money as the business owner possibly can.
Yes,
so,
and you want to do that all year long, but you've got to have your accounting done to actually analyze and strategize. So in whether, you need to do some purchasing of a new vehicle or buy some more inventory or reduce some costs because, you're not going to make that profit. Those all get you there. But back onto the other, what I was saying that, I wasn't even confident with myself in starting my own business as a 4-year degreed accountant working for CPA firms for 5 years. I said, I'm just going to do Beavers bookkeeping. And it wasn't until, I had a client for 3 years that says, you're more than just a bookkeeper. And I'm like, well, actually, I'm an accountant. And she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I said, you're right. And I had to sit myself down and say, wait, who do I want to be? Do I just want to do bookkeeping, or do I actually want to do this fractional CFO accounting? And that's where my passion really lies. I know most people look at numbers and they want to run.
Yeah.
And I'll geek out all day. I enjoy it. I want to analyze it and strategize it. My success comes from helping business owners be successful, seeing where they started, and to look back 3, 5, 10 years later to see where they are. that's where I rate my success.
How did you feel in that moment when you made that decision that I'm no longer going to be
A bookkeeper.
Beavers bookkeeper?
It was empowering and angering. Like I was so mad at myself that it's one of those things like I knew better. But I let mind convince me otherwise. And then once I did that shift and did the whole rebranding and at that time then I incorporated and I just said, it is time to go to the next level and be as big as I want to be. And my husband will tell you now, he's like, I can't keep up with her empire. Because every year I'm ready to start a new division or a new project. And I want to keep it fresh and always continue growing it.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
So you have a number of projects, as you call them, but you have some businesses within Beaver,
Yes.
besides what you do as an accountant. Tell us share some of that.
So I started off with the Guardian Accounting, and that's where we do the accounting, bookkeeping, and CFO services. And then I created a division called Dress Your Business for Success. And that is where I saw a lot of my clients are coming in after, 3-5 years in business, and they're devastated. They're about to either close the doors or fold it up. And it really started with here are the steps to set up your business for that success, because we all have a passion for what we do. We don't have a passion for business.
Yeah.
Most business owners and entrepreneurs don't have a business degree. So really helping them understand the difference between a service-based and product-based business. What are operating expenses? What are inventory? I mean, I had seen that people would buy a vacuum for their office and they'd capitalize it. And so they're spreading a $100 expense over 10 years. And it's just the different things, or they're trying to get a loan with the bank and they don't have the balance sheet and income statement properly structured. So that's what Dress Your Business what is set and designed to do for the person coming in the first 3 years of business to really get that DIY program of understanding your business.
So if we want to sign up for that, is it an in-person class?
It's online.
Online?
Sent to your inbox week over week, gives you the different things. So that's set up under my closet system, which breaks out cash, liabilities, overhead, sales, expenses,
that was so
and taxes.
Cute. I loved how you did that acronym for that closet. Yeah, I was just reading. Where was I reading that about in your newsletter? Yeah.
And I'm excited. I've decided this year I'm gonna write a book. So I've started that, Dress Your Business for Success. So we'll have that coming out probably by the end of the year.
Is it another book or your first book?
Well, it's technically my second book.
I thought so.
Yeah, I'm in an anthology book of one of 20 authors of women in our journey with religion and God. So I share my story of how my faith has grown over the years. But this will be my first full book to myself.
Wow. How exciting.
I'm excited. And then 3 years ago, I started Next Level Mastermind. That was my second division in that. And that is for a business owner that's been in business for 10 plus years. And so that is honestly what it says. It's a mastermind group that comes through where you can speak to other like-minded people. I come from a husband who is a W-2 earner. I'm an entrepreneur. He clocks out at 5 o'clock. I cannot.
Yeah.
And so
I know that for a fact that she's telling the truth on that, because I've called her at like 9 o'clock at night.
Shh, don't tell people that.
Yeah.
But no, you can't.
Or on the weekends.
You can't talk to your husband or your spouse about some of those situations. And you can't talk to your employees about some of the situations. So we all have had different struggles and trials in entrepreneurship. So why not learn from one another? So, and of course, there's an educational component that I add to that. As I'm an avid reader, as we've met, and then my passion project is Krista's Book Crew. So we meet once a month. We read a new book. That one's completely free, but it's all personal and professional development. I've met some amazing women throughout the U.S. in that, and it really does enable you to take the material and digest it and discuss it and get different points of view on what you're reading.
Wow.
Very
It's
interesting.
fabulous that you're taking what could be seemingly boring because it's numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, people like me kind of like recoil when it comes to anything with numbers in it. But you've taken it and made it more interesting, make it so that people can talk about it and then enjoy it and geek out and have real value.
Yeah.
Well, and you two are both really my ideal client. You guys are really energetic and you're passionate and you're go-getters. But at the same time, you don't want to worry about that back office or those bottom lines. And that's where I get to have fun and shine in that area. So it's a great compliment to be working with fellow business owners and particularly women who know what they want to do and know what they don't want to do and allow me to come into that space and take that journey along with them.
Well, there's something else you're doing with real estate.
Yes.
So I know that has been quite a little passionate project that you've had lately. So let's talk about that. Tell us what you're doing.
Well, I just started Real Estate Investment Guardian, so REI Guardian. And within that, I saw worth working with you guys and, contractors, this whole other side of the real estate.
Yeah.
That I wanted to better understand and be a part of. I'm always wanting to learn and grow.
Yeah.
So that's when I started the Real Estate Investment Guardian, and I'm learning I'm providing education on how to be better real estate, to invest with purpose versus just in transaction. I'm out to help you build the wealth because there is a legacy we all want to leave behind.
Right.
And I find a lot of times more people are like, hey, well, I did 500 deals, but did you make any money off of those? So there's the educational component behind that, plus doing the real estate investment in myself. I saw a different area. My children have both said there's no way they want to be accountants.
Yeah.
So guardian accounting won't go to them.
Yeah.
But hopefully I can find, that they do love real estate and see the value in how that appreciates when invested correctly and properly.
And you've actually done some investments back east, and I'm thinking kind of like the South Carolina or Tennessee or something like that.
Yeah, I've done some work where we've done some deals within other investors that are in other areas. So yeah, I've been working in Texas and Tennessee, and I'm back now focusing mainly in California in my own backyard.
Oh, that's great. That is really great. It's fun, isn't it?
It is fun.
Yeah.
It is fun. Learning that different side, whether it's, the wholesaling or private money lending. I really like the lease options where, you've got people who can't quite qualify.
Yeah.
And it may be because they just started their business and they're only 1 to 2 years and they don't have that history. And being able to purchase something that, within 2 to 3 years, they have the financial or credit now to do that. I think it's really a way for me to give back to other people within the area.
So you also are involved in many or some philanthropic adventures as well. So tell us about that. Let's hear how you're helping your community with volunteering in all of your extra time.
Yes, I do. I don't like to sit idle. That is for sure. I'm one of the founding members of the Founders Club, which was to help the community medical centers build their newest hospital out. And probably my biggest passion lies with the Lighthouse. The Lighthouse Recovery Center is for women in recovery from drugs and alcohol. And on that, I serve as the committee chair of the 100 Women's Club Fashion Show. And this will be our 7th year now, this October, that we're putting that on.
What month is that?
It's going to be the first Saturday in October this year.
In October, okay.
Yeah. We've shifted that in.
Because it used to be like in May or something.
It was the 1st of September, and we were bumping around Labor Day all the time.
I know that we have contributed.
You
to
have.
it,
You guys
but
have been our sponsor.
we have never been able to be there because we've always had a conflict. So, but
Well, I'm
tell
going
us-
to get it in your calendar.
yeah, get it on our calendars.
I will.
But tell us more about that. Well, tell us, so the lighthouse, because I know you have a lot of heart in
I
that.
have a huge passion, and what really for them, most nonprofit organizations can get grants on federal or state, but the Lighthouse Recovery Center is a Christian-based program. So due to that, they can get no state or federal funding. So everything is done through donation or through fundraisers. And I've really seen, their statistics of people completing their program. They're at 86%.
Wow.
So they really do know what they're doing. So to come back behind them and support them through my work as, the chair on that and volunteering and spearheading where I can, it does show that even though, whatever religion or faith that you have, you can get a lot accomplished. It's that structure and that hope behind it that enables these women to be so successful in their recovery.
Well, 86%, that's astounding.
It is
that
astounding.
really is astounding. So if any of our listeners today knew of a woman that is struggling and needed to get some assistance, how would they go about contacting the lighthouse and getting some assist? Because when you're in the throes of all of that, you need help, but you have no idea. You're so caught up in the emotions, you don't have any idea as to which direction to go. So how would they?
I would reach out, www.fresnolighthouse.org.
It's
or
Fresno
thelighthouse.org. And they contact, you can volunteer. They just accept donations. Vicky Luna is the CEO there. They also do regular tours of their facility. Many people don't know, 3 years ago it burned down. They were having the roof repaired, and the roofers caught the roof on fire, and it burned down.
Oh my goodness.
And so they had to go through and build it, and the community came together to really help that capital campaign get through. It is an amazing facility now. I mean, they built it better than before. But it really does give the women a place to go to not only now have their education, because the classrooms are on site, but they get to stay. And they've got a few extra things that are coming in this next year that are really exciting that I don't want to announce for them. But they continually expand. They find the need with women who have struggled with either drugs or alcohol issues and find what has kept them from getting the recovery. And then they're out looking to see how they can fill that need.
And I met Vicky, and I know you were involved with Polka Dot Powerhouse.
I'm still a member of Polka Dot Powerhouse.
It still exists.
It still exists. We do
Okay.
not have a local chapter any longer, but they do have the worldwide. So they meet twice a month online. And it's a great way and an inexpensive way to be connecting with different entrepreneurs in different industries throughout the U.S. and beyond.
Wow. Fascinating.
Yeah, wow. You have got a lot going on, Krista. Jeez.
And sometimes too much. I will
Yeah.
say that. I don't practice what I preach. No is a complete sentence. But if I have a passion for what it is, I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
And then I'll hide for a couple days to recover.
But one of the things that I have noticed, staying in that same vein of conversation, is you've started taking vacations with your family. And that was because, you're kind of a bit of a workaholic,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
And-
my son asked if that was hereditary because my dad's a workaholic and I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, son, it kind of is.
And I just remember in the different conversations that we've had over the years where you really had to stop and make that a priority. I
did.
How old are your kids now? The
My
boys?
son is going to be 18 next week and graduating. He's been
wow.
accepted into Washington State University.
Oh, how
so he's going to
wonderful.
go off very soon. And my youngest just turned, he's about to turn 16 in September.
Oh, so they're both driving.
So soon, yeah. May 5th, he's going. My
Yeah.
youngest is going to go get his permit. it was, again, a conversation that I need to have with myself. I'd been focused so much on wealth financially, and I needed to adjust and evaluate the time wealth and the social wealth, and how little summers I had left with my kids.
Right.
I have boys.
Yeah.
So, once they meet their love, they're gone.
That's what they say.
It's okay. But I needed to really evaluate where I wanted to spend that time. Did I want to remember as the mom that was always working, or occasionally that mom that took us on vacations?
Yeah. I think you did a tour of all the national parks.
That is one of my life goals. I am in the process of it.
In the process of doing the tours of that. See,
Yes.
I pay attention.
You do pay attention.
So let me ask you this. Have you intentionally had to put some stops on you or calendar? What kind of techniques? Are there any strategies that you're using to make sure that you are more present with your kids? Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, I definitely have to put some guardrails on myself.
I'll bet you do.
I will go a million miles a minute at all times. But it's to be a little more intentional with the time that I do have. And I know soon, like I said, they're going to be gone, and then I can go back to those 50-hour days if I need. But I also got to the point where I'm now 15 plus years in my business. So I did the up until 2 a.m. solving all the problems. And I had to tell myself, okay, when are you going to start enjoying a little bit of the fruits of your own labor?
Yeah.
Practice what I preach. I didn't need to save it all. An accountant, we got to save. We have to have that big, large nest. Well, I need to learn how to spend a little as well. And so putting time on my calendar to be intentional with that. So one of the things that I said that first week the kids got out of school, I would take that time off, and me and the boys would just go to the coast and spend a week together there, being very intentional with that time. Spring break was another one. I love to travel during spring break. Fortunately, my boys this year said, Mom, can we stay home?
They're getting at that age.
Yeah, they're getting at that age. So I was like, what people
Really?
says I don't want to go on vacation.
Yeah.
But we've been doing it good and doing it right for a while to enable that. But you have to put the time on your calendar. And I'm a strong proponent. If it's not on your calendar, it's not going to get done.
So is your accounting firm going to scale or grow? Are you growing these other businesses?
Mm-hmm.
So, but you are the only accountant in your business,
Yes.
I take it?
Yes.
And that you do have some support staff that helps with the bookkeeping.
Yes.
And the
Can't live without them.
Yes. So are you planning on growing accounting, the Guardian accounting business, or adding to other divisions?
Probably a little combination of both. We've continually grown every year within Guardian Accounting. I think one of the biggest things people ask me is when I'm going to start doing tax preparation, and that's not going to happen. I leave that to the CPA's lane, and we work really well together in referring, and just staying in my lane to really be good at what I do, not worry about adding too much.
Because as a solo practitioner, you only have so many hours in the day, and at some
Correct.
point you're going to you max out, right?
Correct.
So it's that
It's
that
a matter
shift,
then
that
of
shift.
finding the right clients for me that want to pay at the value that I want to pay. And, evaluating every year, is this client worth what we're doing? Do we need to raise them, or do we need to let them go? And I think a lot of time women are afraid of letting some cash go. And I promise you, if they do, a bigger client's you're now going to make the room available for a bigger client to walk in the door and want you.
Absolutely.
Oh, that is a great way to look at it. Yeah. I just was reading some of our notes. It says, Krista Beavers is a financial strategist disguised as an accountant. I love that, because that really does capture who you are. Yeah,
I'm one of those where I like to say I'm your fun accountant. Most of us are known as, the pencil in our pockets. But a lot of the times, I am working as a translator between the business owner and the CPA. I'm working to help my clients understand what they want for themselves, and then how to get there and generate that roadmap. Do they want to be going from 5,000 to 50,000 to 5 million? What is that dream, and how can we get you there in the shortest amount of time.
I love the comment that you just said, you are a translator. I've sat in that room with the CPA, the attorney, and the client. And when the CPA or the attorney says something, I just kind of like the eyes roll back in the back of my head.
Yeah.
And I look at you, and you immediately see me wincing in confusion, and you immediately explain what foreign language they were just talking. So you do that very well.
Thank you.
You really interpret very well for people, and that's got to be 90% of most business owners. They don't.
Correct.
Like you said, business owners come in doing something else very well.
Yeah.
They're good realtors. They are great plumbers. They are great doctors or lawyers, but they don't know how to do the financials of their own business. And so that you're able to point them in the right direction, structure that so that they can have their financials dressed for success, and put them and steer them in the right direction.
Yeah.
And we're so grateful for you for doing
Oh, yeah.
for doing that for our own business.
I really, it's easy to do it when you love what you do. You guys love selling real estate. You can do it all day, every day. And I love analyzing and preparing those numbers. I mean, when it all balances out and it makes sense, I'm a happy girl.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed working with you both for all these years, and I just adore you. And I love seeing how you guys have, we were kind of talking before we started this podcast, having the conversation when you guys came together to be Santy Phillips Group, and getting that structure down in the partnership agreement, to then moving to now this location, and now seeing both of you expanding further into this podcast. I really see how your leadership just shines in everybody that comes through this office, and how they talk about you, whether, it is a real estate agent within working with you guys under a real broker, or whether it's a lender. You guys really have shown what is possible when you have your heart and soul in what you do.
You've done good, honey.
What, bringing Krista in? Well, it certainly has been a journey. We've all grown our business together. There's actually no doubt about that. Yeah. So it's just been, it's such great information. And I guess because I started, but we now, have grown our business together. I just wonder what is for the real estate agent, because that's primarily, not all of our audience, but primarily our audience. What would you say to them about, because the majority of them have no clue.
Where to start?
They don't know where to start. All they know is they've got a couple of deals in escrow. So what, if I were that person, what advice would you give me as to how do I get started to get my arms wrapped around my financials?
Well, I'd say for any first real estate agent starting off in it, you get two things. You get a good accounting software. Pay for an accountant or a CPA to set up that chart of accounts to start with. Get a good accounting software and get 2 bank accounts. One is where all the deposits go. The other is your tax account, where you're putting that 30% to start with right off the top for the taxes. I feel that is where after year 1, most real estate agents fail, because then they have that huge tax bill at the end of the year and they haven't prepared for it.
It's like, whoopee until then.
And it starts snowballing. Okay, now you're behind on this taxes and you're spending the next 6 months trying to pay off last year's taxes. Yeah. And now
it's time
you're
to
selling
reduce.
even more real estate. Yeah. Now your tax liability is even greater, and you just create this hole that is very frustrating and hard to get out of. And realizing that if you're actually doing your accounting, there's so much more that you can be expensing that you're most not likely even counting.
That's probably in the long run going to pay for your accounting.
Yes, it is absolutely one of those things that is more cost effective in the long run to pay to have it done, particularly if you're not good at numbers or know what you can write off. Even a quick app as Mile IQ and tracking those real estate miles. There's a lot to be deducted with that.
Mile IQ.
Mile IQ.
Okay.
Yeah. And every time you get in that car and you're going to show a property or look at a property, you're tracking that mileage.
Does it track automatically?
No,
or
you're logging in.
You're
It's
logging
a quick login. It's a business trip. You're starting mileage.
Oh, it
And when you
doesn't
end-
feel the fact that you're in a car moving along.
Not yet, but
Not
who
yet.
knows where we'll be in a couple more years.
Ka-ching,
Yeah,
ka-ching,
exactly.
right?
Because that sounds like too much work. So you were talking about a software program. Are you talking about like QuickBooks? Is that what you're talking about?
QuickBooks is one of probably the most well-known and easily accessible. It is very user-friendly a lot of the times for new users. Most anybody and everybody knows about it. There's so much material online about it, and they've got a great infrastructure in helping support.
So the accountant would set up the book of charts or
The
whatever-
chart of accounts.
chart of accounts within that bookkeeping system.
Which is
Correct.
exactly what I did with you.
Quick-
I
Yes.
I
And
bought
it's-
QuickBooks and I said, here.
Here you go.
That
Yeah.
is exactly what I did with you.
Yeah, because the structure of the business as me an accountant is going to be a little different than a real estate agent, which is going to be a little different than an attorney. It's going to be a little bit different than a medical facility. So having that structure set up to fit you and your business and what those
Perfect.
expenses are
Perfect.
within that industry.
The other thing I want to mention is you talked about setting up an account for taxes.
Yes.
Is that the brokerage we're with, Real Broker, has something called Wallet. And in Wallet, you can set up with the brokerage a deduction every time, 30%, whatever number you want to make it. And the brokerage will take out that amount of money and set it aside in an account dedicated to your taxes.
Oh, that's great. They
every
do that
year.
for you guys.
So that was the first brokerage I've come across.
Right. Oh, yeah,
Been involved
definitely.
with that has come across that's done that. So that is one of the great things about the company that we're with.
Yeah, no, that is great that they're starting to see that feature, put that feature in, seeing that that's probably one of the biggest complaint many of their agents have at the end is trying to figure out how to pay that big tax bill.
Yeah,
Or it
And
causes them to get out of the business because they can't.
It does.
They need to get another job to pay for the past taxes.
Past
Yeah.
year's bill.
Yeah. The other thing that I want to say about going back to getting started with an accountant, because real estate agents, they need to understand what an important component that this is of their business. I know after all the years that I've been with you, this year, I sat down with you. Where do you start? Okay, so I think I'm kind of coming from where do you start? But I've been with you for a long time. And if I were talking to my younger self, I would say, you need to sit down with Krista right now and have this conversation. Well, because we were kind of involved on other levels, you kind of understood my business. But this year, I sat down with you and I had a conversation with you and I said, let me explain to you what my real estate life looks like now. We started talking about where I have to travel all the time and my house at the coast and my office and stuff. I mean, you gave me such great insight about that. I was like, oh, I wonder how much money I have lost over the years because I didn't have the conversation. So I think one of the biggest advice that I would give to especially anybody new, but anybody in real estate, because it's so hard to wrap your arms around your expenses, is sit down with somebody like Krista, sit down with Krista at Guardian Accounting and have a conversation about what your business looks like. You don't have to start big. You can start really small, but start somewhere. Because if you don't start, it's going to get away from you.
Yes. Most people think it is very expensive, and you'd be surprised how inexpensive it really is. Because what takes you 3 hours most likely takes us 15, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I have a question. You've had so much success. You have wonderful clients like us.
Yeah.
You have
My favorite.
masterminds, book clubs. You have online businesses that you run. Where were your challenges? What was the hard part?
Well, there's been a couple hard parts, I'd say, along the way. I think many people see that okay, yes, I am successful, and I'm going on vacation, and I have a vacation house, and I have a home. But there were times where I was paying everybody else, and I wasn't making that paycheck. Realizing that there are just some slow times that happen, but it's being strategic and planning for those slow times. Because as an entrepreneur, you are the last to be paid. And that will happen at different stages within your business. And realizing you just have to shift. You either need to adjust your pricing or cut back on your expenses or go out and meet new people and get that new client. We've all been through it. Yeah. I'm sure you guys have sold more houses in some years than in others. Yeah. Knowing that I've walked in those same high-heeled shoes as you guys did once yourselves as they're walking in the door. I'm just now 15 years where they're in their first to third.
Right. Well, Krista, I hate to wrap this up. This has really been so interesting. And I think because I can relate so much to it, because I know what you've done for our business, my business, then our business. And we need more of you, not less of you. We really do. We've been talking about this. We need more of you. So thank you so much for coming in today and sharing with us your expertise and your love of all these different businesses and how to collaborate and how important collaboration is and networking and everything that you do. So tell our audience if they're interested in getting in touch with you, how they get in touch with you. Obviously, go on the internet.
KristaBeavers.com.
Yeah.
And that's where you can find me. And I love to learn about people. I love to find out what they're doing. I love to help them. And again, thank you both for having me on today as well. It's been a pleasure, you guys. I just love seeing how much you guys have done and taken now the stage. It's shining. I could see it in your eyes. I could see everything you guys are doing in your heart. And I'm excited to learn more and see you guys grow even further.
Thank you.
So if you know anybody that needs to hear from Krista and hear what she has to say about their business, reach out to Krista.
KristaBeavers.com.
And also, if you know of anyone that needs to hear this podcast, make sure that you share this podcast with them. And you can subscribe to our podcast, and you can get our podcast of Own the Room with Pam and Gayle at any of the places you get your podcast. So thank you for joining us today.